Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. I've got 5 live fights going on right now. So we'll go through each one of those, but I do want to get a catch up with the other guys first. Got Tim and Jonathan on with us. Tim, what's been happening in the north?
Last night I basically just waypointed a load of paths for my troops to take all this territory, so I've taken quite a big chunk of Sweden now and Norway. I did have some troops on their way to Tromsø up north, which were unfortunately killed by some subs that Norway had lurking, which I hadn't seen with my ships before. I think it was because I was hugging the coast with my ships, so I just didn't come across them. So I lost a couple of infantry to some subs, but they're dealt with now.
Yeah.
I've got some random Russian troops coming into near St. Petersburg.
Oh yeah, I hadn't seen them.
So
2 sets.
Yeah, it's just infantry and a lone recon vehicle.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what that's about. But
Yeah, they're combining into the same area, and it looks like they might attack you. So a recon and a motorised infantry versus one of your infantries might just be enough. I know it's fully upgraded, your one. Oh wow!
Yeah.
So combat recon is fully upgraded, and so are his troops. So he's definitely playing Russia.
Just sending the strikes over to deal with that now.
I'm not even sure he is. Because, like, he keeps doing this thing where he calls a ceasefire and then goes back to war. And I've never seen a human player do that. It tends to be like if you're at war with somebody and then they get taken over by an AI, they'll just randomly call a ceasefire at some point.
Okay. What's happening with you, Jonathan, then, in near Russia? Some contacts.
There just tends to be like one or two troops waiting on the centre of provinces, so I'm having a sweep with my strikes, trying to push east and take some more provinces, making gradual progress. I'm leaving like some of this land east of Belarus for you, Tim. But eventually I might just end up taking it. Taking a bunch more cities in Syria and Israel, and that's going to give us a load more victory points because they are just so closely packed together. It was really easy to get a lot of points at once.
Yeah.
And now I'm kind of a little bit thinly spread, so I won't be able to advance into Saudi Arabia. I was attacked by a few choppers from some of these enclave cities where Serbia is just hanging out. I think he was attacking me from Kuwait, so he's still in a coalition with Syria. But I've got some anti-air in these cities now, and again, I just let my planes patrol overnight, and I think they took out a bunch of choppers as well.
Yeah, oh nice. Okay, that's pretty cool. You could have been in trouble if you hadn't had any anti-air, so I'm glad they didn't send any of that my way in Libya. But my rocket launcher's been papping away. It's actually going at a target in Gaza at the moment, so I think that's been fairly useful. You never know. And that's one of the fights. So it's just, I don't know what that is. Probably going to be an infantry unit or something. And then across the river, I've actually had Egypt go to war with me. They just popped out. Fair enough, I was right on their border, and they popped out at me with like it was a combat. What are they called? Let's have a look. An armoured fighting vehicle. The armoured fighting vehicles seem to be quite popular. It's what everyone's had, especially in Algeria, which we've got a load of action happening in, which we'll go to in a minute. I've got my missile launcher here that's just going down to a strategic point to help sort of shell this advance on these guys. But I've bumped into like a motorised infantry from Egypt, and so he's going to be taking out my multiple rocket launcher, but I've spared these guys to him. It's a main battle tank and a mechanised infantry. They'll be there in half an hour, and the next attack is, it tells me, 44 minutes 37, so the tank will get there before they can attack the rocket launcher again. And I do have my strike fighters, for which I've built another one, and I'm ferrying it over, so I'll have a stack of 5, but 4 at the moment, and they'll get there in 56 minutes. So either way, that infantry's dead, and hopefully I'll save my rocket launcher. I've been land grabbing in Libya and pretty much taken them out now. They did fight back with all sorts really, but mainly infantry and those armoured vehicles I've been talking about. Same with Egypt. They sent an armoured vehicle and an infantry at me. And I've taken various casualties. You'll see here in this stack, I've got a pretty badly wounded mechanised infantry. I'm just trying to take these 2 towns up here, Port Said and Cairo, and just flush down through into Egypt. Egypt don't have too many cities, so hopefully that won't take too long. But I'm a bit short of infantry units in general, just to hold and take cities. So, well, actually, that's something we've never talked about. If I just show you here on the unit stats, these pictures where it says features, the castle says conquer territory. Unit can conquer and occupy enemy territory. So that's an infantry unit. You can, take bits of land or cities. But with a tank, for example, this tank, it doesn't have the castle sign, so you can't conquer cities or provinces with just a tank stack. So you always need the infantry with you. And so that's why infantry is so important. And then if we go over here, this is Algeria, and it's all going down. So down here in the south, I've got a mechanised unit trying to land grab, but it's going through mountains, and its speed's 0.3, so it's really, really slow. But he's chipping away in making ground, and that's where there was an air superiority fighter here, with a couple of ground assault vehicles and an infantry unit. It was an armoured fighting vehicle, that's it, and an infantry unit. And I was able to use my strike fighters to help out these. It was an infantry unit, and I think I lost an armoured vehicle. Taking this city, but look, we've got a badly injured tank, and I did actually join this stack with another motorised infantry with full health, because the one there it only had like 1.2 hit points left, and so they combine and average out their hit points, so that's recovered a bit. Just sending them off to land grab and back into the city. Taking this city up here in the north. Just left 1 infantry on it, and there's Jonathan's AA. And then if we go into the far north of Algeria, we've got Algiers, and I've just got a stack of ships chipping away at these guys. So we've got an armoured unit and an infantry, and then it looks like another infantry's just joined them. Or they may have just split off, but I'm just chipping away at them, and I am making ground. And there's Tim's boats going through over to Syria. Got a couple of reinforcing boats, so we've got a couple of tanks and a mechanised infantry coming in, and another tank. So loads of tanks. And just here, near Constantine, I've engaged with an enemy contact as an infantry unit, and it's my multiple rocket launcher just sort of chipping away. Not entirely sure if they're fighting back. Hopefully they are at a distance. It does look like it. Yeah, the other unit's just waiting. And then here is absolutely mad. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 radar contacts. There were 6, which I took out there. And I'm just chipping away at them with my rocket launcher. And then I've got a mechanised infantry and a combat recon in the stack just to provide a bit of defence. So just happy chipping away, and also having a go at them with strike fighters every now and then. And once I've been able to just consolidate troops and get all the reinforcements in, especially these tanks, I'll just be able to sweep in. However, if we look closely at the territory, that's mountainous region. This is desert, that's desert, that's desert. This is mountains, this is mountains. So I don't want my main battle tanks or my mechanised infantry to go anywhere near mountains, because it's an absolute disaster. They'll get killed off by even 1 troop. They have really low stats. So I'll be careful about that. Drive through the desert, and then with the mountainous regions, just try and take them out with the other units. And I've got a bit of a master plan, which I think you two might be vaguely interested in. Don't know if you can see a city called Al-Jorf. JAWF. It's in the sort of the middle. No, it's in the sort of southeast of Libya, nearest the city nearest Chad and Sudan. And what I'm going to do, I've already built a hospital there. It should nearly be built. Yes, I've just built it. Okay, so I've got a hospital there. I'm going to get all of my injured units and just leave them there to wait and heal. And then use that as a launch pad to go into the south of Africa, well, the Central Africa belt, and have that as a bit of a muster point for units to heal and to. I'm going to build an airport there. Actually, I don't know if I can. Yes. Okay, I've started building an airbase because that's where I can also ship people in and back from the front lines. So I'm just going to consolidate around Egypt, see if I can mop them all up and take the rest of this land without losing too many troops, and then set the next front from Al Jorf. So that covers it for my updates. Generally, lost quite a few units in little battles here and there. But then kept up with the reinforcements, and then I've got, if I show you what I'm building, go all the way down, I've got 3 mechanised units being built, four mechanised units, and it's those infantry units that I need so badly, but I'll be able to keep adding to them and keep building away and sending them into the front line. There's one, that's the strike fighter going to Tripoli. What's been happening with you, Jonathan, and your troops, and what you're building and stuff?
Upgrading my anti-air and my strike fighters. I'll have the advanced strike fighter, the Tornado, soon enough.
Cool.
I've got a couple of full stacks. Got a big old stack of SAS and with an airborne officer, which I'm just going to fly into Limassol now to take out Rogue State there. Yeah, what else am I building? A bunch of bunkers to help them. And yeah, just some more special forces. And I've got a bunch of open build slots, so I might just go for some more regular troops. And I've got my eye on a city to annex in Syria. Which one is it? It's Al Raqqa, because when I invaded it, it had a level 5 army base, so don't really know what Syria was doing with that, but he didn't have a chance to make any like theatre defence systems in it, because I didn't spot any of those. But that's something that I can use to build my own theatre defence, so I'm going to try and annex that.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's a nice one to take. God, he was pretty advanced, and he put on a hell of a show to defend himself. Just didn't quite get there, and if they'd teamed together with the coalition, they could have stood a chance, you know.
Yeah, he had a bunch of different stuff. He had like tanks, mechanized, like a couple of different kinds of anti-air, but they were all just like level 1. So he'd obviously kind of spread himself a little bit too thin, and he hadn't specialized enough into 1 or 2 kinds of units. Yeah, and that just made him incredibly weak.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Oh, God, I can see your special forces stack and your airborne officer. There it is. Okay, and that's Limassol. Yeah. That's good to get. I took back Heraklion, which is west of Limassol, and I've got my naval troops somewhere about. Oh God, no! You know what's happened? So my naval troops have gone missing, and they were last seen in Mallorca, which is southeast Spain or North Algeria. And they took that island, and then they went down to the Canary Islands, which is, it's western Morocco, basically. It's those bunch of islands that are still under Spanish ownership. And they disappeared mysteriously. And so I'm sending a frigate to investigate. However, it's going to be pretty dangerous because in and around these seas on that west coast of Morocco, I did lose a couple of frigates and a corvette, and so it's possible Spain have got a big stack of boats still. So we'll see, and I'll try and listen out for the game event that will tell me what happens to the frigate if it does disappear. And we'll try and get a clue, because sometimes there are so many events you lose what's happening in them. So yeah, we'll solve that mystery of the disappearing naval units, which is a bit strange. And if I tell you what I'm researching, so this is getting pretty cool. My mechanized infantry, I've just started the 5th research, and I am 34% of the way through. After that, there's just one more upgrade to go in 2 days' time, and then I'll be on the full upgrade for modern mechanized units. And the stats on the full upgrade is pretty nice. You got an attack of 8 or 9 versus troops and tanks, and then defense of 10 and 11.3. And then planes is over 3 for each one. So planes and helicopters, and I've just started the 3rd upgrade for my main battle tank. So these are the units I've got the most of, so I may as well invest in them. I think if I have a look at my multiple rocket launcher, yeah, I've successfully upgraded to the 3rd level, which gives me quite a nice range. But the next upgrade will give me 100 range versus the 85 attack range it's got, and an extra attack rating. So that's going to be pretty cool to go after next. I'll have the rare materials. It's just the supplies that I'm constantly short of. But I've got 365 an hour coming in on the supplies, so that's cool. And Tim, what are you researching and upgrading?
I've just started researching the sub commander. I've been meaning to do that for a couple of days, so finally going to do that. So yeah, I'll have a stack of 5 subs, and then a stack of 4 with a sub commander. Sub commander's a pretty strong unit.
So we're going to have to talk about how that's going to help us with Brazil, because if we have a look at Brazil, things are starting to get a little bit scary. They basically conquered the northern part of South America where they were having issues entirely, and that just leaves a few small countries that he can really focus on now in the west and the southwest. Looks like Mexico's done a bit of a fight back and taken back the southern territories, because Brazil had swept right up, and then Mexico did that kind of like suicide drive into the north of South America, this bit, Colombia and Venezuela, and it looks like they're consolidating back into their own territories. So I do wonder if they're going to combine forces at some point or just go at each other.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully they do just kind of... I mean, if they do start to just sort of destroy each other, then it could actually be an opportunity to potentially move in. But depends how soon that happens, if it's convenient for us to do so.
Yeah. And in the meantime, if Brazil does just decide to defend against Mexico and vice versa, then their natural path is Mali, and that's West Africa. So I'm going to have to think about defence against Brazil. It's going to happen at some point, and I was thinking they'd hit the west coast of Morocco. I've got an airbase in Tangiers, and if they hit Morocco, they could go through some of these pretty cities pretty quick. I could start a muster point in Bekaa, which is just in Algeria, just west Morocco, and that could be a way of just flying in a load of reinforcements and then starting the fight back on the west coast of Morocco. So I'm thinking about that. It depends really when they start to invade. And actually, looking at you two, Poland and the UK, you're really starting to get close to what are they called now? Mongolia's Western Front. You're starting to... I can see you're taking strategic ground this side of the sea and the river.
Yeah.
Mongolia hasn't really advanced any further since yesterday. Probably focused on India right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of action happening in the south. That's where the opportunity is. He's probably keen to not get too close to you. Looks like he's very deliberately left that land in between him and the river even. to almost say, look, I don't want to get too close to you.
Yeah, perhaps. I haven't really had any contact with them. So it's hard to say how that kind of relation would go.
So he originally made contact, I think, was it with Tim, asking if he could join the coalition, and I think we politely declined, or we certainly declined, and he might just be wanting to keep that relationship alive, or who knows.
You know, interestingly, I've just scouted out his cities, and he hasn't even got an arms industry on his rare materials city.
Mongolia?
Yeah, so kind of curious about
Sounds
that.
a bit moronic to me.
Because I've got more than double the rare materials production. He's probably been struggling to research anything, so he might actually be relatively weak.
Well, you reckon he's just got
compared to us?
Level 1 infantry?
Potentially. I mean, he's got the level 3 army base, but yeah, it's just the lack of sort of production boosting.
On one of his cities, he's got 3,300 production on components, which is quite high.
Yeah.
But yeah,
could be higher if he was boosting those arms industries.
Maybe he's just happy researching one thing at a time and kind of didn't really realise the significance of research.
Yeah.
Or might have just been focusing on one or two units.
Yeah.
But research is pretty critical in this game, isn't it? It makes you very powerful.
Yeah, for sure. When you're coming up, you know, when you sort of coming across like mirror matches, you know, the stronger units, the further along the research trees, they have so much more health, much better stats.
Yeah, and when it's a fine line in attack and defence, then it certainly makes the difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've done a great update. Any last thoughts on anything, really?
No, not really. I think I'm going to end up taking Sweden and Norway slightly quicker than I originally thought. Just because of the lack of resistance. Hopefully get that polished off in a couple of days.
Then are you going to hit into Russia?
I think so. Not deep into Russia, but probably take Moscow.
Okay.
Yeah. A bit more electronics.
Yeah, so you're still keeping your distance from Mongolia then?
Yeah. Maybe that could just be my battle to fight. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm stronger on the coastlines though.
Yeah, true. Yeah, where's the next bit of coast for you?
Probably Iran, to be honest. Sort of assisting you guys moving into Middle East.
Yeah, there's some pretty big open land going through Africa. I'm getting there though. I've taken Morocco and Libya, and I'm now going for Algeria and Egypt. I should be done with Egypt before I'm done with Algeria. That's a bit more. There's quite the defence going on in Algeria. They've got quite high level units. When I've seen them and they've been revealed, and they've been attacking me a bit. So they're going to take a while. I'm going to need to keep sending reinforcements as I build them in. And then once I'm done with Algeria, send everyone to Al-Jorf, however you say it, and by then I'll be certainly done with Egypt, and I'll just be creating big stacks in Al-Jorf and send them south, and then leave any injured troops behind in the hospital to just recuperate, and maybe to make up a second wave that will go into Ethiopia and South Sudan maybe after I've been in Chad and Sudan. We'll just have to see how it goes. Doesn't look like these guys have been up to much more. So Angola could be consolidating. They may be going up the west coast. and making an incursion into Cameroon. So we'll have to see how they advance, because they're a pretty powerful nation there that I'll be coming up against. So there's still a few big players here. There's no difference in the coalitions, and we're attacking well and spreading out well, even though we're encountering some hostile movements there, but not losing too many troops and just about keeping going. So I think that's the end of the episode, and it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from them.
See ya.
Yeah.
Over and out.